Alright guys, Papa Pepper here. For those of you who don't know, we have a cow, and with that cow we rarely see it. The reason we rarely see it is when we made a trade to a guy for the cow, it was a really good deal and we picked it up with the arrangement that we could keep it in a small pasture a neighbor had. Well, the problem is our cow was a young Dexter, so a short-legged cow. She was young, so she was pretty small. So she treats barbed wire a lot like deer do, meaning that it just doesn't stop her. She heads straight through it. So rather than hanging out in a pasture by herself, she cut through the fence in the neighbor's herd. And at first I'm like, man, I can't believe he let it in here, but did some research, did some talking, as it turns out, that was not the case. But now we've got an opportunity because it's back in the small field, small pasture with his. So I've got a bunch of cattle panel here. Not a bunch, but I'm going to pretty much have to take a portion of the small pasture where there's a little part where it leads into a couple milking stalls, and I'm going to have to put my cattle panel in front of the barbed wire the whole way. And then if we can actually get her in there, hopefully we can get a harness on her, get a rope on her, and get her into a cattle trailer and move her down to our land, because that's where she's supposed to be. But she's kind of skittish. We didn't have much time to work with her, which is another thing. You know, if you were picking up an animal young and you're not going to have the time to work with it, you're not going to build that bond with it when it's young, and then you're going to have to do it when it's older, which, although it can be done, can become more difficult. But like I said, the deal at the time, I mean, we traded 3 little pigs for a young Dexter heifer, and that is an incredible deal, so we couldn't pass it up. But then we wind up with the situation, and I know some of you guys are probably thinking like, 3 little pigs, wait, who'd you trade? You know, was this the big bad wolf? You may think that, but we don't think he actually is. He just wanted 3 little pigs, was willing to give us a Dexter heifer for it. And yeah, now I've got to go see if I can't get this girl. So we've got a rodeo on our hands coming up. Maybe we'll see what happens. So I'm not sure how many of these cattle panels and hog panels I'm going to need, but here's the plan. This little fenced in area here is where I'm going to try to get her up into. So if I can get her up in here, I can maybe get her into one of these milking stalls. Back over this way is just a large open pasture, and then another large open pasture, so when they're out there, it's hard to get them. Here you can see a couple of them lying down. And the problem is there's a couple bulls in here. So that's her right there, right above my finger. That's a Gunda, a Dexter heifer. There's a horse here, a couple big cows, some bulls too. Okay, we're switching off of that dream mode, but my goal is going to be work on the fence and get that little girl up in there and see what we can do. Because too, if she gets bred by one of these bulls, that could be potentially life-threatening for her, so we definitely don't want anything like that going on. So I got my work cut out for me. We'll see what happens. Might have a rodeo on our hands. Hopefully I can do it without getting hurt or even seriously hurt. So at this point I got some of the cattle panels in, some hog panels. There's more on the fence, but check this out. I'm going to show you a close-up of her. There she is. Hey girl, how are ya? Oh, don't get skittish already. So with the one thing too, as I mentioned earlier, she goes right through the barbed wire fence if she wants to. So 2 things. Number 1 is, of course, I'll have to reinforce this whole inside here with a cattle panel and hog panel, so she doesn't just go right through and into the open pasture and be gone. Just shut this gate here to make sure she wouldn't head through there. But the other thing is, it makes me really glad that we used cattle panel on our own land, because if I would have barbed wired the thing and we moved her down there and she wanted gone, she'd be gone. So let's get working, kids. Ready?
Yes, sir.
So if you notice too, this is going up pretty quick and simple. Just using some of these Carabinger clips. Clip them on and we're good to go. So almost got this thing where I want it to be. And then once I do, we're gonna try to herd that cow into here with some other cows because she won't go on her own. And then scare the other cows out while leaving her in. So it'll be a task, but if we can get her in here, I'm pretty confident I can figure out something to get her down to the land from there. One of the neighbors has a cattle trailer. I just didn't see it on the drive up. So we might have to get creative today. We'll see. We still got clips. Okay, I got a couple. I'm gonna change this fence here.
Me and Mom have some clips. You could probably put a cattle panel at that gate.
I gotta untie that thing there, and I'm gonna move this cattle panel because it's not on anymore across here. So this is the weak part. Hey, Gunda. How are you, girl? Okay, little one. You're okay.
She's fine, Michael. Let her know. She doesn't want to go in the truck. She's fine right there. You can go into the truck or just sit right there.
Okay.
Hey, Aganda.
I feel like a rodeo clown in this thing. Come back in there. So I got some good news and some bad news at this point. Good news is we got her in here all by herself. She kind of unhinged the gate, so I reinforced that with a cattle panel. It's all good news. She went in here by herself, nobody else came in with her. Real easy. Had her in there a couple times, but wasn't able to sneak up and shut the door, so we'll see. The bad news is she's treating me like a rodeo clown. She went in there the one time I walked up to her, she came out with her horns. I shoved her horns out of the way with one hand, and when she turned and kicked at my face with the other one, I knocked it out of there. But, you know, she does not care too much for me. So, we'll see what happens. But I at least got her quarantined. I'll see if I can't take her from here. Maybe we'll get some action shots of her getting me. Alright, so my plan is now get some ropes on that door. I've got everything pretty much sealed in, but we're going to see if we can't scare her into that little room, get some ropes on the door and pull it shut. Hopefully it'll latch, and then we've at least got her contained there. We'll see what happens. I was in there with her before, some months ago, and same thing. She was just trying to gore me through with her horns, so we'll have to make friends. We'll see how that goes. I think she'll be able to make friends with me.
What's up, girl? Hey, you upset? There you go. What's up? What are you doing?
Aganda. Hey girl, come here. Oh. As always, I'm Papa Pepper, and I'd like to remind you, don't post for free. If you'd like to be part of a revolution in social media, an economic power to the people where users can actually blog for cryptocurrency, then I'd recommend that you check out steemit.com and join the revolution. Papa out.